Xbox will be hosting the 2024 Xbox Developer Direct on Thursday, January 18th at 12 p.m. Pacific Time. Rumors have been circulating about Xbox hosting a new Developer Direct this month as a follow-up to last year's big event. Now that the rumors have been confirmed, it will be interesting to see what the big event has in store for Xbox gamers and maybe even those on other platforms. What fans can count on for sure are updates on 4 big upcoming Xbox console exclusive games. The Xbox Developer Direct will take place on Thursday, January 18th at 12 p.m. Pacific Time and will feature updates on the Indiana Jones game from Machine Games, Obsidian Entertainment's Avowed, Oxide Games' Era History Untold, and Ninja Theory's Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. With Indiana Jones, fans can expect 10 minutes of new info, including the first ever gameplay trailer, setting and story details, how fans will actually play as Indy, and more. Avowed will be getting a deep dive on its world, themes, gameplay, and player choice, while Era History Untold will share new gameplay and key features. And finally, Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 will get an update with the developers discussing the ambition they have for the highly anticipated sequel. The Xbox Developer Direct sounds like it will be jam-packed with big news for Xbox gamers, but that's not all fans have to look forward to on January 18th. Once the Xbox Developer Direct concludes at 1 p.m. Pacific Time, ZeniMax Online Studios will host the Elder Scrolls Online 2024 Global Reveal. This will include a look at the new Elder Scrolls Online chapter, with details on the new zone, story, features, and more that are on the way for the MMO in 2024. Beyond what's been confirmed for January 18th, it's also possible that fans will be treated to a new Shadow Drop game. One of the most talked about moments from last year's Xbox Developer Direct was Hi-Fi Rush being shadow dropped, and rumor has it that the same thing will happen this year, but with a new game from Double Fine. Fans should certainly keep their expectations in check, but they will definitely want to tune in to the Developer Direct on January 18th at 12 p.m. Pacific Time just in case. In a surprising turn, Indiana Jones is now set to show face at Xbox's Developer Direct later this month, which may indicate it's closer to release than expected. As pointed out by Pure Xbox, there have been several sources claiming that Indiana Jones could very well release in 2024. On Reset Era, insider Shinobi 602 responded to an inquiring fan in such a way that made it seem Indiana Jones has had 2024 in its sights for a while. Additionally, Pure Xbox pointed to Insider Gaming, who claim that the title will have a 2024 launch according to their sources. It's important to remember that none of these claims are official, and that clarity regarding Indiana Jones' release plans may be achieved on January 18th. Considering it's been 3 years since Machine Games' Indiana Jones game was announced, and that it was likely in some form of production before then, this year seems just right for a potential release window, and would be a huge boon to Xbox's already strong 2024 lineup. If true, Indy would be the third AAA first-party title on Xbox's slate this year next to Hellblade 2 and Avowed. Indiana Jones seems like a perfect summer game, as the IP is synonymous with the summer blockbuster, though it could also make for an impactful holiday release if it's aiming for later in 2024. I have faith in Machine Games to deliver a mature game because I like Wolfenstein, but my biggest question is that will it be in first person or third person? Machine Games' history is with first-person games, but for Indiana Jones I want it to be third person. Twitter user Caracassus revealed that Lucasfilm registered several domains on January 9th that were centered around the name Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, possibly revealing the title of Bethesda's future game. Additionally, Lucasfilm filed a trademark in Europe 2 years ago for the Great Circle in the context of goods and services for video games. These trademarks included mobile as part of their goods and services. However, this doesn't necessarily mean that the game will see a mobile release, as Caracassus explained that most games nowadays make the same inclusion of a mobile in their trademarks due to users now being able to stream games from a PC or console to their phone. Alternatively, they also suggested that this could be due to legal reasons. While this is exciting news, Indiana Jones fans will get additional news very soon. It's been confirmed that Bethesda's Indiana Jones will be featured at Xbox's Developer Direct on January 18th. Indiana Jones will be given a 10-minute spotlight where it will reveal its title and first gameplay trailer. I don't care about Avowed and Era History Untold. I'm looking forward to Indiana Jones and Hellblade 2, we need them release dates. Speaking of Xbox, Tango Gameworks' highly acclaimed action rhythm game Hi-Fi Rush has been rated for Switch, PS4, and Xbox One in Australia. At the beginning of the year, insider Nate the Hate hinted that one of Xbox's 2023's best game would soon be seeing a cross-platform release, and those rumors about Hi-Fi Rush coming to other platforms seem to have turned out to be true. Now, it seems that gamers will soon be able to enjoy the unique and fun-filled experience that Hi-Fi Rush offers on other platforms. The Australian Classification Board has given the game an M rating for Nintendo Switch, PS4, and Xbox One. This may come as a surprise for many people, who believe the game to be a permanent Xbox console exclusive. It's also worth noting that there is no mention of PS5 in the rating description. Hi-Fi Rush greatly benefits from having controller vibration turned on, as along with the game's visual and audio cues. It helps players literally feel the beat that's so necessary in successfully pulling off combos. So it would be interesting to see how that innovation could be implemented using the PS5 DualSense controller's unique haptic features. As yet, there's been no official confirmation that the game will be coming to the aforementioned consoles, and there has been no hint of a possible release date. However, if Hi-Fi Rush's Xbox Series console exclusivity was only for 1 year, the game launched on January 25th, a date that is quickly approaching. So, many people are anticipating an announcement in the very near future, with the cross-platform launch following soon after. Hi-Fi Rush didn't do financially well, as it didn't even chart on any region during launch. Due to the game doing financially poor might have forced Xbox and Bethesda to release it on multiple platforms to get some additional money. According to a new rumor, the Xbox console-exclusive game Sea of Thieves could be making its way to the PlayStation 5. Sea of Thieves was initially released in 2018 for PC and Xbox One, but eventually made its way to Xbox Series X, developed by Rare. Sea of Thieves is a live-service pirate game that received a mixed reaction at first, but has since gone to be a decently popular game. Even though early Sea of Thieves reviews weren't particularly positive, Rare has released numerous updates for the game to improve the experience. Sea of Thieves updates have addressed fan feedback, added substantial new features, and have given the game some incredible longevity. Recent rumors have pointed to Xbox bringing an acclaimed game to other platforms, with the leading theory being that the game in question is Tango Gameworks' Hi-Fi Rush. However, insider Jeff Grubb recently commented on these rumors, saying that he's heard Sea of Thieves might come to other platforms, specifically the Nintendo Switch and PlayStation consoles. Stephen Totilo backed up this claim, adding that Sea of Thieves could potentially come to PlayStation in early 2024, which would be within the next few months. Totilo did stress that he was unable to verify if Microsoft still planned on bringing Sea of Thieves to PlayStation or not. Andy Robinson from VGC also backed up these claims. While Phil Spencer has pushed back on claims that Microsoft would be releasing Xbox Game Pass on competing platforms, he never mentioned anything about bringing individual games for sale. It looks like Hi-Fi Rush and Sea of Thieves are the stepping stones to Xbox going third-party, as stated by the CFO of Xbox at the Wells Fargo Investors and Bankers meeting. The Xbox consoles aren't selling well, and their game sales also aren't that good. Only Starfield did decent numbers last year, even that is a decrease from previous Bethesda games like Fallout 4 and Skyrim. The other games sold poorly, so bringing these games to other platforms might be the only solution Microsoft might have, and that is going third-party. There will still be a Xbox console next generation, it is a cloud hybrid as we know from the leaks. And there are already rumors that the next Xbox console could launch in 2026. Industry insider Jeff Grubb discussed the issue alongside GamesBeat managing editor Mike Minotti during the latest episode of Jeff Grubb's Game Mess on YouTube, where he confirmed that another leaker who reportedly uncovered the specifications for the rumored PS5 Pro also claims that a new Xbox console might be launching in 2026, though he isn't certain if this is an updated Series X or a new system altogether. Grubb stressed that there are still many details about this supposed new console that he can't verify yet, but he believes that it will take the place of the previously planned, diskless Xbox Series X console that was leaked during the recent FTC trial regarding Microsoft's buyout of Activision Blizzard. Grubb guessed that Microsoft is fast-tracking the release of the alleged Xbox Next system in light of these leaks and to perhaps compete with the rumored PlayStation 5 Pro. As both Jeff Grubb and Mike Minotti have pointed out, it will have been 6 years since the Xbox Series X and S was released by 2026. which is around the usual lifespan of a console before its successor is launched. The ninth console generation had an unconventional start due to the COVID-19 pandemic, but there are whispers of Microsoft already planning its next Xbox console. So, the next Xbox might launch before the PlayStation 6. I don't know if they made this decision so that they thought they could replicate the Xbox 360 moment. I don't think that'll be the case, as Sony did a lot of mistakes during the early PS3 era, and I don't think they'll repeat it again. The launch of the Xbox Series consoles was abysmal because of the lack of first-party exclusive support. We already know from the leaked documents, a statement from Phil Spencer, that if Xbox didn't reach certain metrics at the end of fiscal year 2027, they'll opt out of the console space. The statements from the CFO and CEO of Xbox and the state of the Xbox consoles and first-party software financial performance. It will be very interesting to see how long the Xbox consoles will exist and Microsoft's third-party approach will fully come to the horizon. The PS5 hit the impressive number of 50 million units sold just before the holiday rush pushed the console to what would likely be even more sales. Originally launched in November 2020, saying that the PlayStation 5 had a bit of a rough start on the chip shortage side would be an understatement. With Sony's next-gen console making headlines with restocks for the last 3 years. Sony is not only celebrating the PS5 sales numbers but also the fact that the supply chain issues with the device may have finally come to an end. It's no surprise that the PS5 is holding its weight against the competition found with the Xbox Series X and S and the Nintendo Switch, as Sony has a number of intriguing exclusives under its belt. Final Fantasy XVI was one of the bigger releases for the console that helped bolster its sales just before releasing DLC to entice more players to join in the fun. Other games, such as Marvel's Spider-Man 2, helped strengthen the console's lineup considerably to help take it to the heights it's at today. With the slaughter started by Astro's Playroom followed by PS5 exclusives like Demon's Souls Remake, Returnal, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. There are great cross-generation games like God of War Ragnarok also sold best on the PS5. Thanks to what Sony's next-gen console offers, the PS5 has officially hit 50 million consoles sold worldwide as of December 9th. Keeping in mind just how much the coronavirus pandemic caused shortages for many tech companies over the last 3 years, this number is impressive in the face of those obstacles. There's an interesting coincidence that ties Sony's last 2 consoles together. In terms of milestones that Sony reached in December, the PS5 has managed to hit 50 million almost 7 years after the PS4. The last-gen device was announced to have sold 50 million units on December 6, meaning that the PS5 only missed the year mark by 3 days, according to Sony. It begs the question that if the PS5's launch went a bit more smoothly, perhaps it may have been a bit quicker on the draw compared to its predecessor. Achieving this PS5 sales milestone is a testament to the unwavering support of the global PlayStation community and their passion for the incredible experiences created by the talented developers. From PlayStation Studios and our partners, we're grateful for all of our players who have joined the PS5 journey so far, and we're thrilled that this is the first holiday season since launch that we have a full supply of PS5 consoles, so anyone who wants to get one can get one, said Sony Interactive Entertainment CEO Jim Ryan. So, congrats to the PS5 for reaching this milestone and providing them great experiences. This should continue, and the PlayStation 5 should beat the PS2 as the best-selling gaming console of all time. Speaking of Sony and PlayStation, there are a few things to cover about their CES 2024 showcase. Sony used the PlayStation 5's DualSense wireless controller to drive a real-life vehicle on stage at CES 2024. The peripheral, perhaps not surprisingly, is useful for more than just moving characters around a game world or driving simulated vehicles in racing titles. The Consumer Electronics Show, CES, has long been a prime event to showcase wild innovations from the electronics industry. Companies like Sony and Samsung unveil concept items, as well as upcoming or newly released products, to get the press and public excited about their technological capabilities and creativity. In this case, Sony showed off its brand new concept car, the afeela, which was created in collaboration with Japanese car manufacturer Honda. The afeela was first unveiled at CES 2023. To showcase what he called a software-designed vehicle, Sony Honda Mobility President Izumi Kawanishi used the feature-rich DualSense controller to remotely drive the car to the center of the platform at Sony's press conference. As it was driven out, the afeela's headlights lit up the darkened stage, and cameras mounted inside the cabin proved that the vehicle had no hidden driver at the steering wheel. Kawanishi was quick to clarify that the DualSense compatibility was only a tech demo. Its point was to show Sony and Honda's belief that software can define new function and value. On that point, Kawanishi highlighted the afeela's camera-equipped AI vision system, used to aid automatic driving. He also mentioned its advanced driver assist system ADAS simulator, which runs Epic Games' popular game engine. Unreal Engine 5 is powering a number of new and upcoming game releases, but in the afeela, it's used to display footage of the world around the car, projecting it onto the internal screens and enhancing it with multimedia apps. At an event centered around tech like CES, Sony's trick with the afeela and DualSense was particularly memorable. Some people will likely be disappointed that the ability to control a car with a PS5 controller is just a one-time tech demo. Sony is particularly proud of the PS5 signature controller and has incorporated it into multiple devices so far, including the PlayStation Portal, PSVR 2, and PS5 Access controller. Perhaps what Sony has planned with potential new versions of the DualSense will see further non-game related use in the future. PlayStation marked a record-high 123 million active users in December, the company announced during its CES press conference on Monday. Sony says its MAU are the estimated total number of unique accounts that played games or used services on the PlayStation Network. The record figure follows news last month that PlayStation 5 sales have surpassed 50 million units worldwide. The console reached the sales milestone on December 9, 2023, a little over 3 years after it launched in November 2020. Sony is aiming to ship 25 million PS5 consoles during its current fiscal year ending in March 2024. If achieved, it would beat a 25-year-old console sales record set when the original PlayStation shipped 22.6 million units over a 12-month period. This 123 million monthly active users is the highest they've had, I think, since the PS2 era. Other information from CES include that the writing for the God of War and the Horizon TV shows are in action, and a Gravity Rush movie in development footage was shown. Sony may bring back the Patapon franchise from the PSP era after showcasing some new gameplay in a video for CES 2024. The video introduces Sony Pictures Entertainment's Torchlight facility, which utilizes a creative space for filmmakers to visualize their projects strategically. In it, footage of Patapon gameplay, both from the days of the PSP and today, can be seen, though only for a few moments, before moving on to other demonstrations. During CES 2024, Sony unveiled its Realizing Vision video that acquaints its audience with the newly established Torchlight facility. The video takes the viewer through sequences of iterative creativity, which sees creators and designers working with technology to generate hyper-realistic results. More than halfway through the video, particularly after the live-action Gravity Rush adaptation is shown, new Patapon gameplay is on display under the IP Development Gaming and Anime segment. The footage shows Patapon in a more 3D-friendly environment with modern graphics, showing a tribe as they try to take down a mammoth. Further images can be seen after that on a creator's screen, but only for a brief moment. Patapon first entered the gaming industry scene in 2007 when developers Pyramid and Japan Studio developed it for the PSP, with Sony Computer Entertainment publishing the title. The game features a unique blend of rhythm and strategy mechanics, and it's been well received for its particular video game art style. The original Patapon would inspire 2 sequels, Patapon 2, 2008, and Patapon 3, 2011, as well as a PlayStation 4 version that launched in 2017. Since then, the series has preserved its legacy with remastered editions. Rattayton, a spiritual successor to the Patapon series, also launched a Kickstarter campaign last year. This is not to say that a new Patapon game is in the works. Sony hasn't announced anything yet, and there's no word on a new installment being developed. The last Patapon game was the franchise's 3rd entry in April 2011. It's been almost 13 years since fans have gotten to play something completely new from the classic PSP franchise. Whether the demonstration in the Torchlight hints at a new game or not, Sony might have more plans for Patapon, which would make it another PSP game to be revived for the 2020s. I would like another Gravity Rush game and a Patapon game instead of movies. The Alltech Lansing announcement for AI Shark, a new version of the Game Shark cheating devices, has claimed that Nintendo will launch the rumored Switch 2 console in September 2024. Rumors have been swirling about the Nintendo Switch 2 console for months. Nintendo has pushed back against reports about its new hardware, but reputable insiders and proven leakers have insisted that the device exists and will be launched in 2024. It's been 7 years since the Nintendo Switch originally launched, and with the hardware plenty outdated at this point, it was outdated when it was launched. Many agree that now is time for Nintendo to move forward with a successor console. The Nintendo Switch 2, or whatever it ends up being called, is expected to offer similar features as the original Switch, but with some fancy new bells and whistles to make the upgrade worth it. However, in a CES 2024 press release spotted by Digital Trends, tech company Alltech Lansing has claimed that the rebranded Game Shark, now known as AI Shark, is planned to launch alongside the Nintendo Switch 2 in September 2024. It's possible that this is an accurate leak from Alltech Lansing, but it's also possible that this is just a placeholder date. September 2024 seems like a reasonable guess as to when the Switch 2 will launch. Video game consoles tend to launch in the fall, right before the big holiday shopping season, though the original Switch was an exception to the rule. Metroid Prime 4 was first announced in 2017, but Nintendo ultimately made the decision to restart its development and shift developers from Bandai Namco to Retro Studios. Some have speculated that Metroid Prime 4 could become a Nintendo Switch 2 title instead of releasing for the original Switch, but if not, it could potentially be the Switch's swan song. Whatever the case may be, if the leaked Switch 2 release month is accurate, fans should be able to expect concrete info on Nintendo's new console in the months ahead. The upcoming month is shaping to be an eventful one for enthusiasts of Apple products as the highly anticipated Apple Vision Pro is finally hitting shelves. The Apple Vision Pro was announced back in June 2023 with an early 2024 release window, and now Apple has confirmed the exact release date of the device. Mixed reality headsets have been around for a while, with the Meta Quest 3 building upon the foundations laid by its predecessors and redefining XR experiences. Amidst that, Apple's venture in the mixed reality sector, which has been rumored for a long time now, finally materialized. As is the case with the reveal of most Apple products, the hype was sky-high for the Vision Pro, and it fittingly marked a new era for the evolution of mixed reality. Fans have been eagerly waiting for the launch of the device ever since WWDC 2023, but it seems like their wait is finally coming to an end. Apple has announced in a blog post that the Vision Pro will be available across all Apple retail and online stores in the US starting Friday, February 2nd. For users who are looking to get their hands on the device at launch, pre-orders will be kicking off on Friday, January 19th, at 5 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. The base variant of the headset will be available for a price of $3,499 and will come with 256 GB of storage. Apple has not shared any details about the availability of the device outside of the US. Apple's device visually and audibly displays digital content in a real-world space around the user. Inside the package, Apple is providing two different bands, Solo Knit and Dual Loop, to cater to the different fit preferences of the users. Along with that, users will also get a light seal, two light seal cushions, an Apple Vision Pro cover for protecting the device, a polishing cloth, a battery, a USB-C charge cable, and a USB-C power adapter. Additionally, for those who require vision correction, Apple is partnering with Zeiss to offer optical inserts. Zeiss Reader's inserts can be bought for $99, while the prescription inserts are slightly more expensive, selling at a $149 price tag. Fans have been a bit divided over the optical inserts, with some lauding Apple's accessibility efforts and the pricing of the luxury Zeiss lenses, while others are advocating that it should have been a part of the existing package. Users can access the App Store and the over 250 games within Apple Arcade. Its accessibility features include voiceover, zoom, switch control, and guided access. Vision OS meanwhile allows eye tracking with one dominant eye if both aren't an option. Apple also says the Vision Pro will display more pixels than a 4K TV for each eye. Along with the launch of the device, Apple is also providing demos, on a first-come, first-served basis, and users will have to sign up at their local Apple store for that. Initial impressions have made it quite clear that gamers aren't Apple's priority when it comes to the Vision Pro. Considering how nascent the technology is, Apple's decision to offer Vision Pro demos could be a crucial factor in the initial sales. That being said, it remains to be seen how robust the demos are and whether Apple is able to make an impact on users despite the hefty price tag. Apple Vision Pro is the most advanced consumer electronics device ever created. Its revolutionary and magical user interface will redefine how we connect, create, and explore, said CEO Tim Cook. Pre-orders for the headset will begin on January 19th. It's rumored that SEGA has planned 3 more revivals, specifically for Neon Genesis Evangelion, Sakura Wars, and Panzer Dragoon. At the Game Awards 2023, SEGA surprised fans with revivals of several classic IPs. These revivals are part of a new initiative by SEGA to reimagine these older properties and bring them to new audiences. The games shown at SEGA's TGA showcase were revivals for Jet Set Radio, Crazy Taxi, Shinobi, Golden Axe, and Streets of Rage. Some of these revivals were previously leaked through an internal meeting video that contained the first footage of a new Jet Set Radio game, alongside early footage for games like Sonic Frontiers. There appear to be more games that have been greenlit since the initial TGA announcement. According to Insider Gaming, there were 10 SEGA games that were greenlit for production between 2020 and 2021, including the 5 games that had gameplay footage shown at the Game Awards 2023. Insider Gaming confirms that 3 of the 5 other SEGA games that were put into production during that time, with the site sources stating that Panzer Dragoon, Neon Genesis Evangelion, and Sakura Wars would likely be making a comeback. Panzer Dragoon is a cult classic rail shooter series that was first released on the Sega Saturn in 1995. The most recent entry would be the multi-platform Panzer Dragoon remake released in 2020, which received a mixed reaction. Sakura Wars is a tactical role-playing dating sim hybrid game that also debuted on the Sega Saturn. The most recent entry in this series is the 2019 soft reboot simply titled Sakura Wars. The Neon Genesis Evangelion franchise has also spawned a number of tie-in games, with some that were released for the Sega Saturn in the late 1990s. Insider Gaming wasn't able to verify the other 2 out of the 5 other games that were greenlit. However, SEGA trademarked 12 new games in December, which might provide hints about which games are also possibly in development. Some of these newly trademarked franchises include Afterburner, Alex Kidd, Altered Beast, House of the Dead, Kid Chameleon, Outrun, and Super Monkey Ball, meaning any of these could be in early development right now as well. However, this information should be taken with a grain of salt for the time being, as these are merely rumors and speculation. Fans should wait until more official information from SEGA is provided. Information about a sequel to Lords of the Fallen has potentially been leaked. This came along with details about other upcoming projects from Lords of the Fallen publisher CI Games. According to a recent trademark filing by publisher CI Games, Hexworks could potentially be working on a sequel to Lords of the Fallen. The unannounced project is codenamed Project 3, with the official title likely to be Death of the Fallen. This sequel is supposedly planned for release in 2026 and will run on Unreal Engine 5. It is likely that Death of the Fallen will be released on PC and the current generation of consoles. Deck 13 made an interesting and ambitious game with the original Lords of the Fallen, but last year's successor by Hexworks made some great improvements including the dual worlds and proved to be a worthy sequel. This next entry in Hexworks' reboot series has the potential to please not only current fans of the series, but fans of gaming as a whole. CI Games is also working on a new IP named Island Gate to Gehenna, codenamed Project Survive. The trademarks also reveal 2 farther projects in development such as Ghost Sniper Warrior Next and Project Scorpio. Shout out to Caracassus on Twitter on finding these trademarks. Speaking of trademarks, fans of Control and the world that it shares with the Alan Wake games may have much to look forward to, as a new trademark filed by Remedy Entertainment provides more information pertaining to the next game in the series. It's known that Remedy apparently has a number of different projects in the works, but new information suggests that the studio has even grander aspirations for the future of the Control universe than fans had expected. First released in 2019, Control is set within the same universe as the Alan Wake series and potentially other games from Remedy as well. Set within the confines of a paradimensional location known as the Oldest House, the story focuses on the existence of a top-secret government agency known as the FBC, or Federal Bureau of Control, which is tasked with identifying and containing paranatural objects which can carry disastrous consequences for the natural world. The name of this organization may be familiar to some, as the Federal Bureau of Control plays a role in the much more recently released Alan Wake 2. Control opened up a massively complex world which has seemingly unlimited potential for expansion, though Remedy has previously announced multiple directions for the series' future. As reported by Respawn First, a new trademark filed by Remedy for a title named FBC Firebreak includes some details that suggest it will be a particularly grand project. The trademark includes various clothing and multimedia assets as well, possibly pointing toward a variety of related merchandise products and potentially even a watchable series or movie related to the world of Control. It's not yet clear whether FBC Firebreak is to be the official name for the confirmed sequel to Control, or the upcoming live service multiplayer title set in the Control universe known as Project Condor. It could also be something else entirely, perhaps even a DLC expansion for Alan Wake 2. This wouldn't be out of the question considering the tie-ins between Control and Alan Wake, though the trademark itself has certainly raised some eyebrows within both games' communities. The term Firebreak can also be observed in Control, with a firebreak representing a huge physical separator between two areas within the Oldest House with the intention of maintaining a more effective level of security when it comes to containing paranatural threats. This might suggest that FBC Firebreak will similarly be set within the Oldest House, making it appear that the trademark will most likely have more to do with Remedy's upcoming multiplayer project. After the reception of Control and Alan Wake 2, it seems likely that interest in future titles set within the Alan Wake and Control universe will be greater than ever. Development on the Sea of Stars DLC Throes of the Watchmaker is past the pre-production stage. Players who were captivated by Sea of Stars' retro charm have expressed excitement about the upcoming DLC. Sea of Stars follows the epic journey of two children of the solstice as they wield the powers of the sun and moon to combat the monstrous creations of the alchemist known as the Fleshmancer. Despite being relatively new, less than 5 months since its release, Sabotage Studio is already working on a Sea of Stars DLC. In a Twitter post, the Sea of Stars team revealed that during the Sabotage Summit in November, they pitched ideas for the much-anticipated DLC alongside outlining the vision for Game 3. According to the developers, the mysterious and wacky DLC, which was in pre-production, has now officially graduated from that phase. The Twitter post teased players with the promise of a malevolent spectacle awaiting them in the upcoming expansion for one of the best games of 2023. Limited information is available about Sea of Stars' additional adventure at this time, which is going to be called Throes of the Watchmaker. However, it is known that the adventure will include Sea of Stars characters assisting the Watchmaker, a genius inventor, fully dedicated to her work, encountered by players at the Clockwork Castle during Sea of Stars' main adventure. According to Sabotage Studio, players can expect a full side adventure to the main campaign of Sea of Stars, offering additional insight into the narrative. Nevertheless, the team has not yet disclosed a release date, not even a tentative window. Fans took to the comments section to express their enthusiasm for the upcoming DLC and share their positive experiences with Sea of Stars. The game's blend of modernized turn-based combat, captivating storytelling, and nods to classic RPGs earned it the title of Best Independent Game at the Game Awards 2023. As players eagerly anticipate more details about the DLC, the community continues to support Sabotage Studio and looks forward to what the team has in store for both the expansion and the mysterious Game 3. It was always going to be a difficult job to try and outdo an excellent 2023, but somehow Dead by Daylight has managed it already. Last year saw the long-running horror multiplayer game receive another 4 DLC packs, and of those, 2 were major horror franchise crossovers. And as if the Alien and Child's Play crossovers weren't enough, Dead by Daylight also finally brought back its long-missed Stranger Things DLC. So, naturally, 2024 was always going to be an uphill battle for Dead by Daylight. But today, Dead by Daylight has made its first big step into 2024, and it's already being heralded as one of the game's best decisions. Just announced, Alan Wake 2's titular paranatural writer will be heading to Dead by Daylight as a DLC survivor on January 30th. Coming seemingly out of nowhere, This Dead by Daylight x Alan Wake 2 crossover is a dream come true for fans of both franchises, and it's come at the perfect time, both for Dead by Daylight and for Alan Wake. Right now, the Alan Wake brand is more popular than it ever has been before. Originally debuting back in 2010, the first Alan Wake was a third-person action-adventure game with psychological thriller elements. Much like a handful of Remedy's other experimental projects, Alan Wake didn't sell too well at the time, but managed to gain a cult following in the years following its release. While Alan Wake 2 was a sequel that fans had been asking for over a decade, the general public anticipation for the game wasn't too high. That is, until Alan Wake 2 released. Launching back in October 2023, Alan Wake 2 quickly became the talk of the town, receiving stellar reception from gamers pretty much across the board. It took no time at all for Alan Wake 2's merits to reach the wider gaming world, bringing in more fans than the series had ever had before. Despite being 3 months on since Alan Wake 2's release, the game is still very much on people's minds, with the exception of the sales underperforming in its initial launch window. The hype surrounding Alan Wake 2 is still very much there, and Dead by Daylight has made a smart decision by capitalizing on that right now, potentially bringing in a whole new audience who have never tried the multiplayer game before. A survivor in every sense of the word, Alan Wake is a natural fit for Dead by Daylight. While Alan Wake won't be available to buy until January 30th, Behavior Interactive has announced the survivor's perks, all of which are cleverly themed around the character's in-game abilities. As fans would expect, many of Alan Wake's Dead by Daylight perks center around his ability to harness light, such as his perk, Champion of Light, which gives the survivor 50% haste while holding a flashlight, and causes the hindered status effect on a killer after blinding them. Eager fans awaiting Star Wars Outlaws now have a better idea for when they can expect the game to release this year. Officially unveiled at Ubisoft's 2023 Summer Game Fest showcase, Star Wars Outlaws impressed fans with a lengthy gameplay trailer which displayed some of the game's third-person shooter combat, seamless space traversal, and introduced Star Wars fans to protagonist Kay Vess and her fuzzy friend Nix. The trailer was stamped with a 2024 release window, leaving fans wondering about exactly when they'll be able to get their hands on this new Star Wars adventure. In the vast Star Wars timeline, Outlaws is wedged in between The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, and will heavily feature some of the universe's most despicable crime organizations, including the infamous Jabba the Hutt. Despite taking place during the original film trilogy, Star Wars Outlaws will interestingly offer new looks at some of the worlds introduced in the sequel films, such as The Last Jedi's Cantonica and the icy Kijimi, the frozen world briefly traveled to in the opening moments of 2019's The Rise of Skywalker film. Perhaps the most impressive and ambitious aspect of Star Wars Outlaws that's been shown off is its ability to let players seamlessly travel from these planets into space without the use of traditional loading screens. Disney Parks blog has unintentionally spilled the beans on a more refined 2024 release window for Star Wars Outlaws. In a blog post highlighting 24 things Disney fans can expect throughout the year, Disney made mention of Ubisoft's upcoming Star Wars Outlaws, noting that it'll be ready to release late this year. This phrasing seems to indicate the game may be planning to launch sometime in the last 4 or so months of 2024, as alternatively using later this year could still mean spring or summer. However, the wording has since been reverted to release in 2024. It seems that despite this blog revision, Disney and Ubisoft are likely still internally planning Outlaws' launch for late 2024. As the new year is just freshly underway, only 2 games have stamped solid release dates for the second half of the year. The ambitious Chinese epic Black Myth Wukong has claimed August 20th, while Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2 is landing on September 9th. Q4 2024 is currently untouched, and Star Wars Outlaws seems like a perfect title fit for the fall or holiday release window. With that said, an October or November launch would make perfect sense for Kay Vess' journey through Star Wars' criminal underworld. While Star Wars Outlaws already seems to have large swaths of the fandom captivated, there's still much more to see and learn about the game before it's ready to finally roll out. As Summer Game Fest has recently been confirmed for 2024, it would seem like the most optimal place for Ubisoft to show off more of its ambitious Star Wars title, and potentially confirm a release date. And that's all for the video, ladies and gentlemen. Like and share the video for a greater audience. Comment your thoughts on the topics, and donations are always appreciated. Subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon, and until then from SMPV, it's goodbye.